Thank you, GTAs. Morning and welcome everybody. Morning, as we like to say in the DK community. I'll be taking you through the any percent category tonight, and just making sure I have my story skip on. So I'm playing on the N64, and I have the record for this category on this version, and it's 25:49. I won't be able to perform the record route because it's too risky for a marathon, but I'll be doing the next best route basically, and still hopefully can beat the game in under 30 minutes if things go well. So I'm ready to start whenever, whenever you're ready. I can give the countdown.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this run, well, this game, if you don't know it very well, has 8 main worlds. Each world you have to collect bananas, golden bananas. You have to free other Kongs. There's 5 in total. And you have to beat the boss of each world to progress to the next world, you know, so on and so on. You finally get to the last level, and that's Hideout Helm. And you need to get through a gauntlet of mini-games to get to the end of that level and pick up the final boss key, which is key 8. This is basically what you would need to do to beat the game normally. It's quite a long game with a lot of collectibles, and the 101% category is over 5 hours long. But as far as any percent goes, I am just going to go straight to the last level. That final boss key, key 8, is the first collectible I'm going to grab in this route. Alright, so I've just gotten a glitch called tag barrel storage, which lets me move around while the camera is still locked on the tag barrel. Now that lets me tag my Kong when I'm too far away from it, so my Kong is not loaded properly. My Kong is invisible, and I can use the pause menu here to basically set a stored position. The game does not update that position while I'm unloaded like this. So there's a glitch called a telegrab that I'm setting up by doing that, and that will let me basically warp upward when grabbing a ledge, and that's how I'm going to get into Hideout Helm early. So I've got to make sure I position this right. Okay. Alright, not bad. Okay, so that's the up warp, and now I'm in Helm Lobby. I'm going to do phase through walls, called phase walking. Not enough time to really explain how that trick works, but basically you can go through a wall in pretty much any room of the game using that trick. Alright, so we're in Hideout Helm now. And yeah, like as I said, this is the last level of the run. I mean, not of the run, but of the game normally. And you're supposed to need the whole Kong family to beat this level, and you have to like use their moves and complete mini games and all that stuff. We're just gonna slap our way up this slope and use the phase walk trick to get out of bounds in this next room. This trick is not easy. It actually requires a couple of sort of frame-perfect inputs in a row, but with a lot of practice, we've gotten better at it. Oh, hold on a sec. I did not go where I wanted to go. Sometimes navigating out of bounds like this can be a little tricky. I wanted to jump in this room because I wanted to raise the floor of my Kong. So a really nice thing about this game's out of bounds mechanics is that when you go out of bounds, the game basically remembers the last floor height that you were at. See, like this right here, I jumped up to a higher floor and now I'm up at this higher level. That's really useful for gaining height out of bounds or maintaining your height out of bounds. Which I did need to do here because the boss key at the end of the level is quite high up compared to where the level start is. That's another little height gain there that I did. I'm staying out of bounds until I get all the way to the key 8 room here. I'm just approaching it now. I'm bypassing basically all of the doors that require, like, you know, major collectibles. Alright, so we're out of Helm. We have key 8. Can we beat the game? No. What else do we need? Well, first of all, I haven't unlocked any other Kongs, any other moves. And what about the other 7 boss keys? Do I need any of them? Well, as it turns out, you do need key 3, because although the rest of the keys all unlock the next level, key 3 does not. So the game checks for it in order to let you go to the final boss. But first, before I can get key 3, I gotta do intro story. And this part I have to kind of focus a little bit, because I'm on a timer. So what did I just do? I went into the main menu, and I selected the intro story cutscene. I canceled it at a particular moment where the game basically still thinks I'm watching that cutscene, and it's running a timer in the background to keep track of when to switch the cutscene from, like, when to basically transition to the next scene in the intro story. And the intro story is like a 5-minute long cutscene. So why am I doing this? Well, I'll explain that part later. But for now, I have to do a couple of carefully timed transitions to not get pulled back into watching the intro story cutscene. So I need to wait on this text box. The screen should start to fade out. There we go. So by making sure that I leave Cranky's at the right second, I'm basically letting myself stay in the file. The thing about intro story cutscene, or the glitch that I'm setting up with it, is that I basically have to burn like 4 minutes, and in that time I'm using this time to complete some of the training barrels that I will need for the rest of the run. I don't need to do all of the training barrels, but I do need to do the barrel throwing barrel to do one of the phases of K. Rool fight. And the orange barrel, I can also do it, it just helps me save some time later. So the thing is, yeah, this is just sort of downtime where I'm getting as much other useful stuff done as I can. In the record route, the faster route, it's during the intro story timer that I would be going to Hideout Helm and picking up key 8, but it's really risky to do that in a marathon setting, because if you don't make it in time, then you basically fail to set up the glitch that I'm setting up right now. So, okay, I still have a little bit more downtime. According to my sub-split, it's only been about 2 minutes, 20 seconds since I started watching the intro story in the main menu. So I have enough time to go around and tag a Banana Port warp in the back of DK Isles. And then we're going to do a save and quit. And then we're actually going to do the important part of this whole intro story glitch and what's going on with this. So, why am I setting up intro story? And by the way, that scene right there is not the normal save and quit scene. That's part of the intro story. So just to prove that it's still playing in the background when it gets the chance. So, I'm setting up a trick called main menu moves, where by letting the story cutscene take over from the main menu, I'll transfer moves and unlocks to my file. First thing I gotta do is look at the file, okay, just like that. Now we're gonna play some multiplayer. Oh, I'm not supposed to go to this map. I'm supposed to go to the other map so I could pick up more oranges, but it's not a big deal. I can still pick up some oranges here. Alright, 9 is enough. Alright, now I gotta go to the factory mini-boss. Factory boss replay, I mean. And what this will do is give me some moves that you would normally only have. Like, basically unlocks moves temporarily to let you do the mini games and the boss replay that are in the main menu. And now that Rambi coming across on a barrel is a cutscene, and any cutscene will make the game go back to playing the intro story at this point. So now I'm watching the end of the intro story, but I was in the main menu and I was doing multiplayer, which unlocks, it basically grants you the ability to use all the guns and the ability to use Simian Slam, and then the factory boss grants you all of the other cranky moves. So now I'm watching the end of the intro story. All those moves and unlocks have been set in memory, but because I was last in my file, it's actually going to, instead of sending me back to the main menu here, it's just going to leave me here in the adventure mode. Well, technically I'm still in main menu mode, but it basically leaves me in the file that I started with. And so now here we are back in my file, and I have all the moves unlocked, and I already have key 8 done. So that's pretty cool. Just to show you that it works, you know, I got the coconut gun there. So, we also tagged that warp 4 earlier, specifically to come back up here. So now we're entering the third level of the run, or third level of the game, I mean, Frantic Factory. You need 15 golden bananas to get in this level. I don't care about that, we're just going around. So why am I here? Right, I explained earlier that I need key 3 to unlock the final boss, basically. So that'll be the second and final collectible of this run. It's just key 8 and key 3. We've really done a good job of like cutting every other requirement out of the game. I do have to tag this warp to come back out of the level later. Normally you could pause and leave a level that way, but because of the main menu mode glitch that I set up, it won't let me pause the game. Like if I press start right now, nothing's happening. So I'm just making my way to one of these portals in the level. And the fastest way to do that is just go straight out of bounds and fall down to one of them. And now we are getting ready to fight Mad Jack. Mad Jack is meant to be fought with Tiny Kong using the move Ponytail Twirl. So I'm gonna have to do some, you know, kick jump maneuvers with DK to be able to maneuver across these platforms. And this boss is definitely the hardest part of the run. I mean, at least in terms of getting a really good time, because these switches that are spawning they can randomly spawn in like a number of different platforms, so I have to keep a close watch basically and react to what patterns I get. I will be trying to sort of manipulate the spawn a little bit, but the best it can do is give me a 50-50 chance of getting a good switch. So that time I didn't get a good switch. It's one of these other spots that's behind him. Okay, dodge the fireball, that's good. So we're 2 switches down, 3 more to go. Mad Jack will always do the same number of jumps. So I just need, I mean, he does a different number of jumps each round, but like it's consistent how many jumps he'll do. So I can basically do a counted setup here to make sure I know when he's gonna stop jumping. Okay, pretty good. 2 switches out of the first 3 were in good luck positions. Now for the hard part. I'm gonna be jumping back and forth as much as possible and doing some of these diagonal jumps to try to make Mad Jack do more fast jumps. Basically, if he's chasing you and he's more than 1 tile away, then he will do a fast jump instead of a slow jump. That was another good switch. We are 3 for 4 on good switches. Alright, there's just 1 round left. He has 15 jumps. I'm going to count it out to make sure I don't screw it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I didn't trust that diagonal. 11. Okay, this is his last jump, I think. No, it isn't. What am I talking about? There's 2 more. Oh, another good switch. Okay, I didn't do the jumps very well, but I got bailed out with incredible switch luck, so that's pretty hype. The important thing is I never fell, because if I had fallen down, then I would have had to restart like one phase of the fight, basically. Alright, give me that key. Alright, we're definitely on sub 30 pace. That's pretty good. This run kind of goes by in a flash. I've already collected key 8, key 3. Those are the only things you actually need in addition to moves to beat the game. So we're all set up. All that's really left is unlocking the final boss and beating the final boss. You might be thinking, like, is this really going to take 30 minutes? We're already only 15 minutes in and we're basically done, right? Well, this game has, like, one of the longest final bosses that there is. So, at a minimum, the final boss is going to take me at least 12 minutes. Because there's 5 rounds, one for each of the Kongs. Which you still haven't met the other Kongs yet. It's just been the DK show so far. But yeah, we do have to... we will get to play as all of the Kongs at least once in the final boss. So I hope I was able to explain enough of the craziness that is this category and the route up to this point. Now would be a great time for the chat to ask any kind of questions. If there's something that I did that you're like, whoa, how did you do that? Because I have some downtime now before I get into the final boss. So there's key 8 getting turned in. And a nice side effect, by the way, of like not having to collect all 8 keys is that well, we don't have to watch the cutscene of this guy getting freed from his cage, which would take extra time. So it's funny, like the game does actually make sure that you've turned in all the keys in order to free him, but it doesn't check if you've turned in all the keys to spawn the final boss for whatever reason. So that is very convenient for the speedrun. Okay, here's the final boss, and we are getting into that. Oh, another side effect of the main menu moves glitch is that I cannot take damage. So, no matter how much I struggle, if I struggle in any of the boss fight, I won't die. So that's nice. I guess I'll take this time to just say, like, if anybody wants to learn how to speedrun this game, there's a pretty active community on Discord, and like we've had a number of runners actively doing runs, not so much for any percent, but a lot of 101%, some glitchless, any percent glitchless, no levels early, and a few new runners who are just learning any percent for the first time. So it's never been a better time. Well, I mean, there have been other good times too, but never been a good time. Never been. It's a good time to get into the game if you've seen it and you've thought, hey, this looks really interesting and funny and has cool glitches. I can assure you it sure does. And a lot of the glitches that I did in this run don't take too long to learn, with maybe the exception of the phase walking. That takes a bit longer to figure out how to do it consistently. But a lot of the other tricks, once you learn the setups and stuff, not too bad. Alright, I'm just making sure that I wait the appropriate amount of time for each of these hits before firing. This is a very simple phase. You just have to wait for him to punch a certain number of times and then fire at him. And there's no randomness here, so like I know exactly when to do it. Alright, and that's DK's phase done. Diddy phase is next, and his is probably the hardest because you have rocket barrel controls, and they're kind of notoriously tricky to handle. But we do have like a little trick we do on this this part of the boss, where we, after we get into the rocket barrel, which I'll also have a little bit of a trick for that. Ooh, if I can get it. Okay. Yep, okay. We got in the rocket barrel during the cutscene, which is great. And then for each of the switches here, You can kind of shoot through the light if you're close enough to it. So you don't have to go around the other side of the light to hit the target on the back side. See? You just kind of shoot through it like that. Ah, I wasn't in a good spot. There we go, that was a better one. Well, that wasn't a very good Diddy phase, mainly the one light that I messed up, but you get the idea. Alright, Lanky's up next. This is the only reason that we had to do any training barrels, because Lanky phase has the barrels with the bananas in them. You have to be able to pick them up to be able to defeat this part of the fight. So we can do that. And then hopefully I can get K-Rool to just slip on the banana immediately here, which will set me up well for the next throw. Yep, looks good. And I can play my trombone only because of the main menu moves glitch. Otherwise, I wouldn't normally have that move available without going to the shop and buying it. Alright, looks good. We just have to make him slip on the banana 4 times. That was the third. One more switch over there. You can move a little bit faster with Lanky by doing these rank stand jumps. Slightly faster than his like regular movement. Alright, and K-Rool was right on the path that I wanted him to be, so kind of timed that so that when I get back to the trombone pad, he's just getting to the banana. Alright, we got 2 more Kongs to fight K-Rool with. Tiny's phase is the longest part of the fight. Unfortunately, it's a lot of just waiting around. You're supposed to like have to dodge K-Rool's attacks and then go mini monkey into his shoe. But you don't really have to worry about dodging his attacks because you can just stand on the poles in the corner. And I didn't really mention it up till this point, but there is a fair amount of lag reduction strategy, at least for the N64 version, and that really comes into play on this part of the fight. Because there's a lot of waiting around, it's like really imperative that you try to reduce the lag as much as possible. So the way I'm going to go about that is jumping up on the pole and going in first person, just looking away from the arena. So all of the shockwaves and K-Rool and all that's off screen. It does make a pretty significant difference actually. And not just out like on the edge of the fight, but also once I go inside of the shoe in just a second here, I'm gonna have to dodge these toes. You definitely don't want to get hit because that will also eat up more lag. But basically I'm going to try to spend as much time in the shoe as I can in first person to reduce the lag as well. I'm also like adjusting my camera at the start of each phase so that it doesn't lock on K-Rool, because otherwise it would like normally have you just looking at him the whole time. This is also the reason I picked up the oranges in the multiplayer map. Because normally you should use like the feather bow, or you would be expected to use the feather bow for this part to shoot the toes. But since we want to reduce lag as much as possible and we're looking down at the floor, it's better to throw oranges to land the hits. Which is kind of funny because if you know about this game, oranges are also used to oranges are like famously known for creating lag for a different type of trick, but we didn't use that in this run. But orange clipping is like, if you throw 4 oranges at once, it'll generate enough lag that you can sometimes go through like any wall. Not any wall, but in a laggy enough area, basically. So the way these toes work, I mean, they have pretty much a set pattern, and it's like 2 hits on the, or 1 hit on the first toe, 2 hits on the second toe, and so on. So there's just 1 toe left, and I'm gonna go over to the green pillar here because I think it lowers the odds of K-Rool being in a bad spot. Alright. Decent. Alright, we just have to do the final toe. Oop, I forgot the pattern. Alright, 2 more hits and 2 more oranges. Cool. So we are coming up on the end of the run. We just have Chunky Phase left to do. And Chunky Phase is fun. Probably the most fun part of K-Rool, to be honest. We get to go big and use our Primate Punch to take him out. This phase is pretty straightforward. You just need to get to the middle, pound the switch, get back to the corner for the Gorilla Gone pad. The fun thing about any percent older routes for this category, we actually, back before we used main menu moves to basically avoid freeing the rest of the Kongs, we used to do a route where you would free all the 5 Kongs and have to buy like just the moves that were required basically to beat K-Rool. And Chunky Phase, the game actually just expects you to have like Gorilla Gone already, so you actually don't need to buy that move to beat the boss. It's kind of weird. There's actually a number of places in the game that are like that, where there's like a pad or something that just works regardless of whether you have the move or not. And this is one of those places. But in this case, the main menu glitch gave me all those moves anyway, so it doesn't really apply in this category, but I just thought it was interesting. Alright, time's coming up on the next punch. So that's all that's left. Oh, nice. Oh no! I got a skid jump, but I missed the barrel. Alright, we're gonna do a couple backflips just for fun. And time. I don't know, what'd you guys think? Oh, wow.
I think you beat Con 64 in under 30 minutes.
Yeah, this was actually faster than all of my practice attempts, so that's pretty cool.
What's the record, like 25 something?
28:28 is what I got on my side.
Yeah, that's the time of this run. I was wondering what the record was.
Oh, the record is 25:47. No, 49, I mean. But it uses a different route. So, like, this route loses a couple minutes. I don't remember exactly how many, but the thing is, like, to get the fastest time, you start the run with the intro story glitch, and the first 5 minutes of the run is like, no, sorry, that's not right. You start the run, you do the training barrel that you need to do, which is the barrel, and the orange barrel. And then you go back to the main menu, start the intro story, and then you have like a timer of like 3.5 to 4 minutes that you have to get up to Helm and get the last boss key. And if you're like too slow, then the run is just dead. So that's why I don't do that route for marathons. But that saves the downtime of basically the section in this route where I was just kind of like doing the training barrels and waiting around for a bit is all cut out. All the waiting around is cut out in the record route. But this might be one of the fastest runs with this route that I know of. Like, if I look at the leaderboard, most people who would have used this route for their PB, they probably already, they either don't have a time this low or they already switched to the faster route. Yeah, this would stand as, what is this time? 28:28. This would stand 10th on the leaderboard. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, I can show, like, I don't know, we're probably like ahead of schedule, so would you want me to show some glitch exhibition type stuff? Because this game has a lot to offer.
Sure, you can show off a few things.
Cool. Actually, if I'm gonna do that, I should probably use the practice ROM, not the regular game. It's been years since I like tried to do an exhibition thing. Basically, since Awesome Games Done Quick from I don't know how many years ago, like literally 10 years ago. I don't even know what I should show because there's so much. I mean, I'm showing skew because everyone likes skew. First of all, this game has a practice ROM, which is really nice for anybody getting into speedrunning the game, because you can just like grant yourself all the moves and take yourself anywhere in the game, like warp to anywhere, and then practice stuff and set save states and things like that. Alright, I'll show a fun little trick. So, this is a trick that we use in the 101% route, or at least the route that I use. So this is called cannon skew, where basically you interrupt entering the cannon with getting hit by an orange, and this allows you to get into a funny position. But it's not just because it's funny, it's also useful. Alright, so there we go, we just, fire Lanky headfirst into an orange, and now we are looking at the floor. And this is what's called skew, where because we're tilted like this, we can go through pretty much any wall we want, because the collision is also tilted. This is a cannon skew, which basically faces your head down, but there's another way that you can do this, called gun skew. I'll show that one next. So if you go into the water with your gun out like this, you just have to crouch off of an edge and then go into first person as you're falling in. Now you can swim around with your guns. And why is that cool? Well, first of all, I'm gonna just swim through this wall. That's not part of the skew. That's just something you can do all the time. And I'm just gonna go into first person after having swam and angled myself upward in the water. So now, it's hard to see because I'm out of bounds. I'm basically getting myself back into the map. So again, I'm skewed, but now I'm facing backwards. This is the more standard form of skew because it just lets you walk forward through any wall that you want. And so this is pretty useful in this level because we can use this to grab all of these caged golden bananas without needing to open the gates that are in front of them. We can also just like go through walls and gates as much as we want. So that's a cool little thing. The other nice thing about skew is that it transfers between Kongs. I mean, well, not even just with tag anywhere, but like you can go in a tag barrel, switch out, and keep using your skew. The only thing is it goes away if you enter like a loading zone or exit the level. What's another fun thing to do? I haven't shown ultra lag in a while. Oh, that takes a while to set up, so I'll just try to do my favorite trick. Yes, first try. This speaks for itself. Alright, I hope everyone enjoyed that. Yeah, the run's over. I had a fairly quick run. I don't know. I could show you an orange clip. Oh, I could show you tag rail storage. Although I did one in the run, but... I'll show you another cool trick from 101%. This is just an excuse for me to practice tricks from 101%. But this is actually a pretty cool trick. So in this room over here is the fabled DK arcade machine, which many people remember is like a huge pain to have to get the Nintendo coin when you're playing this game casually. So I'll show you a trick for how to, well, at least do the first part of the arcade quickly. So if you reload the level without, I'm just gonna go into Funky's HUD to basically make it so that the area hasn't already been loaded. And then from here, since the arcade room is basically right behind this wall, I just need a way of clipping through this wall. And wouldn't you know it, we can use oranges, at least on N64, to help us achieve this. So I'm just gonna toss 4 oranges, kick at the wall, and we're through. That doesn't always work first try, but yeah. And you can actually see the sparkles is the location of where the golden banana would normally spawn. It spawns from like the pipe in the corner of the room. And the cool thing is that even though I haven't done the first round of the arcade yet, as long as the room stays unloaded, the golden bananas actually are loaded in a weird way where like as soon as I load the room, it'll disappear. But from this out of bounds, you can get close enough and jump up into it. And now I have the golden banana that you would get for beating the first part of the arcade. And now, in a 101% run, I would only have to do basically round 2 of the arcade for the Nintendo coin. Unfortunately, there's no way to get the Nintendo coin early. But that trick, and there are other types of tricks like this. It's called a spawn snag, because you're basically snagging the golden banana before you can get to it. And then I'll show one more cool trick. This is, again, just excuse for me to practice things for 101. But this is probably the last thing I show, if I can get it. So I'm going to show you probably the hardest and most impactful spawn snag in the game, at least in any of the RTA runs that we can do. First I'm just going to set the warps for this level to be tagged, because I will need them later. And this is a special type of spawn snag where there is no way, I'm basically aiming to get the golden banana for the rabbit race without doing the rabbit race at all. And so I have to go collect it from its home, which is like inside the rabbit's house, but without loading the area where the rabbit lives. And the only way you can do that is if you lock your camera somewhere else, which you can do with tag barrel storage. So the idea is this is like the closest tag barrel. So I just performed tag barrel storage, and now I have to move like all the way from here out of bounds and to where the rabbit's golden banana spawns without seeing where I'm going. So this is the challenge. So the first thing I do is get into the water, and now I have to do a set of calculated movements to get there. So let's try this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3. Oh god. Well, my finger slipped off the joystick, so hopefully this works, but there's a good chance it won't now. 6 and 7 and 8 and 10. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5 and 6. Actually, you know what I can do? Just because this is because I feel like I'm not gonna get it if I just go for it. I'll just use the void map to help me cheat a little bit. So basically this is actually kind of a cool way of seeing how the trick works. It's basically a top-down view of where I'm in the level. So I'm moving towards where the golden banana is. There we go. And so you just can walk into the golden banana without loading the area, and that skips like a 4-minute, 2 sets of racing the rabbit. But there's more. So yes, that is probably the most impactful spawn snag in 101, but it is not the end of this trick. So you may recall that tag barrel storage I had to set up to start this whole thing. Another side effect of tag barrel storage is that I still haven't actually tagged my Kong. So the game is still going to have the tagging loaded for me when I go back to where that barrel is. And I'm actually going to take advantage of that to get another golden banana early. That would normally require quite a long setup. So yeah, the tag barrel's over there, and you can see I still have control of it. Like if I move the joystick side to side, I'm selecting my Kongs and all that stuff. And I have to be careful not to like press A or B or Z because it'll actually, tag the Kong while I'm in range. At least not until I want to. So we're gonna use that gun skew trick I was showing you guys earlier. It doesn't matter that I kind of messed up that part because there's another way to get gun skew. You can go out of bounds first and then take out your gun afterwards and then walk back into the water. That also works if you miss the gun dive. So now I tilt myself back. We have skew. We can backflip inbounds. And the reason I selected Diddy here is because Diddy has the rocket barrel ability. Now these abilities with the Kong faces on the barrels are, really only meant to be used by the one Kong that it's for. But if you go over to the tag where you already have set the tag barrel storage, the game now thinks, oh, okay, you're tagging Tiny Kong, so I'm gonna let you do that. And now suddenly Tiny Kong can use the rocket barrel, which is pretty awesome. And by the way, I'm skewed, and if you remember what skew means, is that I can go through any wall that I want. So I'm gonna go up to this wall. Wait, where is it? Hold on. I need to make sure I'm not in the wrong place. I have to follow this curved vine. Okay, yeah, it's this wall. So if I line myself up on this wall and go through, I should be on the other side just above the golden banana for the beanstalk GB. And there we go. That is how you can collect the beanstalk golden banana early as Tiny Kong. And we had to actually grab that from the other area because you'll notice that once you're in this area, your height is like capped here, which is lower than the golden banana. But if you come from the other side, you can like fall down and hit it. So that's pretty cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the run and the trick showcase. That's all that I got for you. I don't want to take too much of our time, so thanks for hosting the event, GTAs.
Yeah. If you have any shoutouts, you can
yeah, shout out to basically the DK64 community Discord server. Maybe I could like drop an invite link or something in the chat if you guys are interested in the game. I mean, it's not hard to find, but yeah, DK64 speedrunning on Discord. Shoutouts to other active runners. I mean, Firefly in the chat is a new runner, just completed his first any percent run like earlier this week. Shout out to Tudos in the chat, Zerulda in the chat. They're longtime runners. Zerulda actually being a world record holder of the No Levels Early category and former record holder in the other categories. So, and many other great speedrunners that it's been fun being part of this.